So I have another message that has come through for humanity from my spirit team, the Wisdom Keepers. And I'm going to share that message today with you. However, before I share this message, I want to talk a little bit about how hard this really is to be a human. And the message that I received from the Wisdom Keepers, which are a 12th dimensional spirit team that I work with, that are connected with the master teachers, which master teachers would be considered like Buddha or Jesus, but also with the Octarian like the star system, the extraterrestrial beings that are associated with Octarius. And so when I channel these messages, the messages are coming from that perspective of a higher dimensional thinking. And these beings and these ascended masters that I work with have been human. And so they understand the spirits or the perspective of being a human because they experience it themselves. However, they also understand the perspective of being a higher dimensional spirit. And so, in order for us to navigate through the shift of higher consciousness and pulling in higher frequencies of 5D and moving into New Earth, we kind of have to break out of that egotistic thinking and open ourselves back up to that higher dimensional thinking. And our ego doesn't like to do that. Our ego is actually programmed for the purpose of the human experience. And that's a positive thing in many ways because without the ego, we really couldn't survive our human life. But as we are awakening and as humanity continues to shift and the vibration of Earth and all beings continues to rise, we are becoming more and more connected with the higher dimensional thinking, which is our true self, which is our higher self, which is the soul in which we operate out of. And so we are spirits living a life, and it might be hard to grasp that sometimes because this reality seems so very real, and it's hard to understand that we are energetic creators and manifesting experiences around us based on our energy. And I don't even like to hear that sometimes because I can look around me and I can see things that I don't necessarily like or I don't agree with, or experiences I even have with maybe family or friends or just strangers that kind of rub me the wrong way or trigger me or cause me to feel disconnected from that part of me that is my true self, my higher self, the energy of love. And I kind of want to go into like that fight or flight mode and allow my ego to take over and fight for me. And that's a human experience and human reaction that we actually need to have as humans because that keeps us and protects us. However, what's interesting, my spirit team is beginning to give me messages as I talk. So as I get messages, sometimes they'll interrupt me to make sure I'm sharing the right information. But they're bringing into awareness a reading I did the other day where somebody came to me believing that they were looking at something negative because of their ego. And it was interesting, the message I got from the higher version, the higher self, was sometimes when we think that the ego is actually against us or causing us to have a negative emotion or feeling, it could actually be a combination of our ego and spirit working together to give us insight or awareness of what is not serving us anymore. So our feelings and our emotions and our body are always trying to guide us on the right path in our life. They're always trying to help us get back into alignment. When we feel uncomfortable, that means that we might not be in alignment with our true self or where we're meant to be going in this life. And so sometimes I use this example with her when I was talking with her about how many years ago I was working in a psychiatric facility. I worked in mental health all my life, and in this particular job was really difficult. And I had an awareness and understanding that I was probably needed to move on from this position. And I had a fear that I could not do anything else. I had a fear that I had reached my highest potential and that there was nothing else out there for me. So I kept trying to shrink myself into this position, thinking this is my calling, this is where I belong, I need to push through, it will get better. But it didn't get better. And I now can look back at that time and I can see how the pressure around me was kind of piling in and pulling in towards my energy. And as that pressure was pulling in, it was actually trying to move me and shift me into something else that was more aligned for me. But I couldn't pick that up because my ego was programmed to have fear that I wasn't good enough for something else, or I could not accomplish something outside of what I already knew I was doing. And so I had a very limited mindset, a very boxed in mindset about my abilities and my understanding of the world and who I was in general. So, in order to get out of that, I had to be pressured by my higher self in the universe to see things differently. And unfortunately, because I didn't take action steps to move forward to whatever was next to me, I ended up being fired. And this was, I believe, a divine intervention from the universe, because by me being fired for basically doing nothing wrong in my job, was the intervention the universe gave me to move me on my next path. And if you haven't listened to my awakening story, you may not know that at that time, I also, my father had cancer. And so I was helping my father through his cancer. And a lot of my emotions were drained. I was working in mental health plus helping my dad basically survive his life. And so emotionally, I was not capable of holding that much low frequency in my body. And I think the universe was kind of like telling me that, like, this is not good for you. You must move on. But I didn't want to let go of that place I was in. And so because of that, the universe is just kind of like, okay, well, we are going to kind of shove you out of this position. And so, like, when I lost my job September 18th and my dad passed away 5 days later, it felt like my whole world fell apart. My whole life completely was demolished. And so rebuilding from that over the last 5 years has been challenging but awakening, and helps me to really get on the path of my true purpose. So I think sometimes that we confuse that maybe the ego is also trying to help us, but not necessarily knowing how. And so I always teach my clients, like, when you meditate, you're teaching your ego how to protect you when it is needed and when it's not, because we need the ego to help us through the human experience. It's not our enemy. It's not something trying to harm us. We just have to be open to programming and teaching the ego to hear our higher self as well. So when I got this message from my spirit team with the wisdom keepers, or your everyone's spirit team, and they don't belong to me, I want to make sure that I say that. It was hard for me to hear, because I didn't want to hear this, because I feel justified in my emotions. I feel as if I should be able to be responding in anger, or lashing back out when people lash at me, or when people can't see the truth. I get angry because I want them to see the truth. And what's interesting is, deep inside my spirit, when I do those things, I know I don't feel good. I feel out of alignment. I feel uncomfortable. My body feels icky. I don't sleep well. It's almost like everything in me is misaligned. And then when I come back to peace and love and kindness and centered in my true highest self, that's when my body is able to relax. My ego is able to let go of that kind of fight or flight, or that flare up that it brings in to protect me, and I can rest in that and calm my energy. So I'm going to share this message with you, and then I will come and explain this a little bit as well after I read this to you. But I wrote this down, and I would love for you to comment, share, like this video. These messages get to more people when you help engage with this. And I know that sometimes I forget to do that with other people. So I just want to remind you that by supporting me, you're supporting other people as well that are also going through this. So let me get this message, and I will be right back. Welcome to the Soul Alignment Mentor Podcast. I'm your host, Angie, and I'm inviting you to explore the depths of self-sabotage, limiting mindsets, and the beliefs that hinder our progress in life. Through intuitive messages I receive from my spirit team, I share profound insights to help you live authentically and break free from these limitations. Join me now as we uncover all the keys to living your best life. All right, so here is the message from the Wisdom Keepers. And again, I want you to stay centered as you hear this message, because I will admit it triggered me in a little bit of a way when I received it. And so we'll dissect this after I read it and hopefully figure out how we can navigate through this world and life by holding the frequency that they're talking about. So the Wisdom Keepers came through the other night and said to me, we want to discuss the energy of love and how it can help overcome all challenges. Love is a powerful force that can transform our experiences, especially in the light of the current state of the world. Many of you have been conditioned to approach conflicts in the same energy that you are fighting it against, often without realizing the contrast in frequencies you are sending out. So I'm going to read that again because I kind of messed up. Many of you have been conditioned to approach conflicts with the same energy that you are fighting against, often without realizing the contrast in frequencies you are sending out. So we'll go back and dissect that part for sure. When you project a frequency of anger or resistance, you are amplifying the energies you wish to combat. This leads to a cycle where one side seeks to fight while the other seeks to inflict pain, and both are operating on the same frequency. To break this cycle, humanity must shift from a fight mentality to one of love. This transition can be challenging for a collective that is unaware of its energetic impact on the world around it. However, we encourage you to hear this message and tap into the frequencies of your true self, the energy of love, which is the essence of all creation. Begin to cultivate this energy within you and expand it outward. Fear, anger, and desire to resist are all manifestations of the human ego. The way to overcome these feelings is through love, true love. It may seem difficult to transform anger into compassion, but this is the essence of how the unity of love can change the energy of all things. To end a conflict, you must stop feeding it with your energy. Remember that the frequency you embody and project is what you will see reflected in your surroundings. Even if it feels like you are on one side of the divide, your frequency may be contributing to the very conflict you wish to resolve. We encourage you to pull back into the energy of your true self and embrace love. Start by expanding this awareness with your own aura. Once you're able to elevate your unique energy and hold it, you can begin to radiate that love outward to those around you. This will have an impact. We understand that this concept may be difficult for many to grasp, but it is a fundamental truth that light always overcomes lower frequencies. Transforming dense energy into lighter, higher frequency is the key to progress. We love you, we support you, and we are here to assist you. Thank you. So I want to go back through this message because when they said this to me, I was like, okay, so I honestly don't want to do this because I feel angry. I feel upset. I feel like there's a reason to be upset about things and to have justice and to fight towards things and to resist and all those things. And I don't think that they were saying that we're not supposed to do that we're not supposed to have emotions, or we're not supposed to resist, or we're not supposed to allow ourselves to feel the anger of what is going on. But these emotions cannot control who we are as a human, because that is how we end up in a lot of the conflicts that we are already in. Is that energy has been amplified, and that energy has been driving behaviors, has been driving the ego's desires. And that's how there are many people in greed and in this thought process of I am important and you're not. And so in order to combat that, in order to pull that energy down, we have to be the opposite energy. Because when we are connecting with an energy with the same energy, that energy expands and grows. And so this is what the wisdom keepers are saying, is that we have been conditioned through our human experience to approach conflict with the same energy of the conflict. So I want you to think about being in an argument with somebody. And I've had this happen in my own life. I think every human probably has had this, where somebody says something, or smarts off to you, or something negative comes your way. What is the first instinct that you have? Is to react, is to defend, is to respond, is to resist. And I know that if somebody comes at me in a negative energy, then I rise up in my negative energy and I bring it back and I tell them, like, no, you're wrong, I'm right. And so you go into this state of matching the frequency. And I've noticed as I've been healing and growing myself that in order to stop that, you have to just not engage, which is very difficult. Now, the world is in a little bit of an interesting energy right now as we are going through major, major shifts, and a lot of energy is being exposed in darkness. And I don't even want to go into all of it. If you know, you know, we are in a time of just not sure about what's going to be happening. We are in a time of a major energetic shift where the exposure of what has always been there is coming to the surface, and we are being challenged to not meet that energy with the same type of energy. And this is what the wisdom keepers are saying to us. We are using the energy that has been placed in our awareness to fight against it. So they're saying that when you come at something with the same energy, that energy continues. And then when you retrieve your energy and you step back from that, that's when it falls away, or it disappears in some type of way. Not necessarily disappears, but you disengage so that the energy can be transformed into something else. I know that if somebody comes at me in anger, I'm more likely to want to protect myself and to defend myself. But if somebody comes at me in love and is genuinely curious or wants to talk to me in that way, then I am more open to having a conversation about something that might even be comfortable to have a conversation about. And so this is what they're really saying, is that in the overall energy of all things, like, there are things going on all the time that are horrific, and we can tune in and look at these little individual scenarios that definitely have anger involved with them, and we shouldn't not feel angry about that. But when we allow the anger to be our main frequency and our main way of moving through this world and life, then we are contributing even more to that. And so by becoming love, by becoming peace, by becoming the energetics of our true highest self, then we participate in allowing that energy to be what it is, but not participating in it. And then that energy doesn't have anything to feed off of. It's kind of like we are giving the bread, the yeast, to continue to grow when we are participating in the same energy. So what we have to do is pull back and realign with that true, most authentic self, our higher self, which is the higher dimensional thinking of love that we have. And I also think that we as humans have a distorted view about what love is. We often see love as weak or succumbing, and it lowers itself. It does, absolutely. But love is a flowing energy. If you were to think of love as water, water is powerful. Water can wipe anything out. Water cleanses things. And so water is not weak. Water is a force in which changes things. If you have a river that overflows, or you have a wave, or you have water that comes through an area, it can wipe out everything. And so if you see love, the energy of love in that same concept of it appears gentle and it appears beautiful, and it has a glisten to it. It has a flow to it. It's, enjoyable to be with. But when it's in its truth, when it's in its power, when it's being used as an energetic force, is deadly. And so that is the energy of love. Love is not weak. Love is power, and love is our true self. And even as I speak, I can hear my spirit team reminding me, like, what do you think the creator is? It's a powerful force of love. And that's the energy that we are created out of. And if we get back into that energy, that powerful force of love is what changes the energy around us. It changes the world. And that is how we're going to usher in the 5D energy. And so, even though this message is kind of difficult to hear, I will fully admit I have struggled with it. Go ahead and comment below and let me know what you think. But I know it's the truth. Because if we are a powerful force of love, and we realign with that powerful force of love, and we start sending that frequency out, and more and more and more and more of us do it, imagine the impact that it will have. Because love always overcomes all things. The frequencies that are higher dimensional always overcome the darkness. And that's what we are here as light workers to do. That is what we are here to, as healers, to do. That is why those of you that are attracted to this channel or to channels like mine, we are the volunteers that came to be that energy of love and light, to eliminate what has always been there and has been ruling and running things, in order to usher in a higher frequency of 5D. So even though this is hard and a difficult position to be in, it's also a very amazing one. And I feel honored to be a part of transforming energy into love. And I know that I will be working towards being more in alignment with this, so that I can share that type of energy around me, instead of contributing to the pain and the suffering that the world is going through. And it doesn't make any sense in my human ego mind how that is going to solve problems, but I trust the higher dimensional teams. I trust the spirits who have been human and now are not, and are guiding and leading us, because they see the perspective from a different angle. They know what it's like to be a human, but they also know what it's like to be in their divine self. And even Jesus spoke on this. Jesus and Buddha both spoke on this, of being love, of carrying love with you and loving your neighbor as yourself. And that love transforms all things. So if you're looking for support in working through some of this, and you would love to do mentorship, or just join my membership, where we meet a couple times a month as a group. I do a live channeling with the Wisdom Keepers, where you can come and you can ask questions, and you can discuss with the Wisdom Keepers things going on in your personal life or in the world. And then I also do intuitive workshops, and all that is just $25 a month to come and be a part of my mentorship program. If you want one-on-one mentorship, there's also opportunities for that as well. If you just want to join my chakra harmony course, it's only $12. Links below. Jump in there. It gives you all the tools to start clearing out your own energy, using different frequencies and meditation to raise your vibration, so that you can reconnect with that true self that you carry within you of love. So I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you for being here. Again, like, subscribe. Can't wait to meet with you again. I wish you the best day, night, evening, whatever time it is for you. I send you all the universal love. Namaste.